stopping by today to see what I am up to lately. This definitely is a new project, something totally different, something that I'm excited about. It's definitely kind of a trial and error. I've done a little practice on this project, and I'll show you here in a minute, but I think you're gonna like it, and I think you're gonna be intrigued just as I was when I kind of discovered this. So I want to give you a little bit of a background what this is all about and where it came from. So today I'm going to be working on, this is actually an older quote journal that I actually haven't been able to finish. I still have some pages at the very end that are still empty, and I want to get it done. I want to be able to finish this book completely, so I decided to grab it. And so the project that I'm going to be working on today, it's going to be in this, so it's going to be a sort of a quote or some sort of writing. But you've seen me do quote journals before, but the thing that's going to make this different, it's the products that I'm going to be using. I was recently surprised by the company called Arteza. They are a art, stationery, crafty store, online store, and it is amazing. So they approached me to do a little review on a few of their products, and this is one of them. Do you remember scratch paper? Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna show you something here really cute. This was done by my son. After I started playing with these scratch paper pads that I received, I gave him some so he could try it because I think this is so much fun. And so I've been thinking of what kind of projects or how I can use this type of scratch paper in my crafty projects. Here's another example. This one I did myself, and I hope I'm on camera because I can't see my phone since it's so high up. But you can see that it's iridescent, and this has a pretty much a solid pink background. So when you get a box like this, it comes with a little wooden stylus for you to scratch the surface of the paper and reveal the beautiful color underneath. I have discovered that I can use an Awl tool. That's what this is. This is an Awl, A-W-L. And it works great to scratch and create patterns and designs on the paper. So I have been thinking on how I can use this in one of my journals, and I think I came up with a pretty cool idea. So I am going to work on this quote journal using this beautiful scratch paper by Arteza. Now, one thing that I discovered as I was working, looking through all the sheets, they all have a different background. So you can see this one here, it's a multicolor one, and it doesn't shimmer as much. It looks like it does have some like specks, like little bit of gold specks mixed in with the colors. I really like this one. I show you the pink, and there is one that has, it's almost like a multicolor as well, but the colors change as you move the paper around. And let me see if I am on here. Yeah, you can see that. Can you see how as I move the paper, it changes colors? So one thing that I discovered as I was going through this pack here, if you hold the paper, the stacks of them in a certain direction, one of the angles kind of shows you the color that it's underneath, the black. So I hope you can see that this one looks a little bit more yellow. This one has more blue. And if I pull the other ones, it's gonna be kind of hard to show you. And then you have to look, you have to move the paper so that you can see what edge is showing you the color. So I can see that this one here has a little bit of that pink, and then some other ones here have the yellow. So I've already kind of mixed them up because I was kind of looking through all of them, and I'm gonna be surprised, you know, whatever I picked here, what's gonna be underneath. So I'm kind of curious to see what colors I'm going to get for this project, but I promise you, whatever it is, it's going to be beautiful. Now, the other thing that I decided to do, and you kind of already got a little sneak peek here, is I decided to use a combination of not just scratching the paper, but using some acrylic paints. And that's why you see I have a few acrylic colors here. I've already poured a little bit of it here because, like I said, I wanted to give it a try before I proceeded. So you can see how pretty the combination of these two mediums work. So the squares measure, I'm assuming 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. 3.5. I'm right in between. They're 3.5 by 3.5 inches. So, sorry, my hands are sweating. If you visited me here before, you know that I have something called hyperhidrosis, where my hands sweat a lot. Not a good thing when you're a crafter, but what can I do, right? I just deal with it, and I'm okay with it. So now, another thing I kind of discovered as I was working with these beauties over here is whenever you scratch the black ink, or I don't know what that medium is, but whenever you scratch it, you have a lot of little, like a powdery residue. I used a brush, and as I brush my project like this, I can kind of get rid of, and you can kind of see it, I got a little bit off here. So if I use a brush, I can easily get rid of that residue. So because my pages, my TN is obviously a little larger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine 4 pieces. Now I think it would be ideal for me to have chosen 4 of the same background color. So if the underneath is blue, I hope I got all 4 blues. If the background is pink, I had all that are pink, so that everything matches. So I'm going to double check to make sure I have the exact same background underneath the black. I will attach them to the journal pages, and then I'm going to have fun doing a little bit of painting with my acrylics, and then once it's dry, I'm gonna go back and start creating a different design and doing some writing on the back, and you will see how gorgeous this is going to look. So let's get started. As I mentioned before, these little squares are 3.5 by 3.5, and I needed a larger area to work on this project. So I decided to use 4, and I'm very quickly here trying to line them up so I have the same amount of space on the top and the bottom. Once I glue the first one on, it's easy to do the rest. This new glue dot tape runner that I got, it's amazing. It's one of my favorites because you can put as much or as little as you want to hold whatever you're trying to glue, and it is super strong. So I wanted to make sure that my little squares were not going to be lifting off as I started to work on my drawings. So I grabbed this brush here, which I end up changing it because the little bristles are not as compact, I guess I should say, as I wanted to. So I switched to another one that it's a little bit more finer. And although you would think that the ink would kind of be very strong against the black, it was still a little bit of kind of transparent. So I had to do a couple of layers, I guess I should call it. and I just randomly go around. You'll see me move the paper back and forth, switch it around, turn it upside down. Because, and here's one thing you need to, whenever you're painting, and you have ink, wet ink, always be aware of where your hands are and where you are drawing, because a lot of times I have done this where I forget, and my, what is that part of my hand, like not the wrist, but you know, the little chunky part of my hand that rests against the paper will bump whatever I just added, and then I make a big mess. So that's why you see me kind of maneuvering the journal around, so I make sure I am not bumping my hand against the wet paint. And then I randomly grab, you know, without having to change colors constantly. So if I start drawing with the turquoise, like you see me here, I just stick around with the same color and kind of position my flowers throughout in a kind of a uniform, you know. You can see that I do like a triangle. You always follow a triangle. So you see that the turquoise, you see the three little circles, they're in a shape of a triangle. And then I go and do the orange ones. And I again kind of randomly put them around the page wherever I feel like I need to balance out the colors and change the shape of my flowers. Pinterest is always a great place to find inspiration for flowers. I mean, pretty much for anything. I'm serious. I go on Pinterest to try and get inspiration and ideas all the time. And because I am drawing them by hand, it is still considered my work. So there, believe it or not, I'm kind of hovering my hand over those other flowers so I don't smudge them. I try to stick with the same colors, and you'll see that by coincidence, when I start drawing with the stylus or the awl, that little sharp tool, pokey thing, um, the colors end up wonderfully just working so well with the paint, which I was shocked. So again, trying to find inspiration from everywhere, Pinterest being the one, like I just said. I found some ideas on how to, or how to draw using this little pokey thing, the awl, the tool. And you'll see me using my little brush to get rid of all that little black residue. There you go, left over. It kind of comes in handy. Obviously, doing this is the relaxing part. To me personally, I love doodling. I kind of get lost in it. And I was mesmerized by just how the color comes through behind the black, and to be able to scratch off at such a fine line and details was another thing that I truly enjoyed. So I just went around the page and had a blast, just doodling and coming up with whatever patterns, feathers, which is what this is. It's not a leaf, it's a feather. uh, it was fun. It was so much fun just scratching the paper and creating the fun little designs. Obviously, you can tell that the background of this paper is the multicolor one. So it kind of looks like neon to me. And I was okay with that. There's one that is iridescent and it looks almost like just like a silver, but when you move the paper, it's iridescent and it shines different colors. So I definitely want to try that one next. Again, this still worked. Very colorful, very beautiful, very interesting to see. So again, there's nothing to it here. There's no science behind it. There's no trying to be perfect. Go with your gut. Just scratch away and see what you come up with. One thing that you can try to maybe find even more inspiration is Zentangle. Zentangle. I don't know if any of you have heard of Zentangle, but it's basically just creating lines and patterns in a very rhythmic way. That's the only way I can explain it, and I truly enjoy it. I wish I had more time to do, sometimes you get in a little, I don't know, a mood, right? Like a mood of all you want to do is, do doodling, or all you want to do is watercolor. And I go through stages like that. But, because I have to keep creating for design teams, I sometimes I have to be selective of what I need to work on. So it looks like I'm jumping all over the place with projects, but it is because of that. Whenever I have a project for a design team, I have to think about what to do for that specific deadline. I've been thinking about doing a blog post about a day in the life of a design team uh, member, because it does take a lot. And a lot of times I feel that, I need to be more in tune with you guys. And what I mean by that is, people, and I do try to, uh, answer questions and you know be present and be part of the whole community, which obviously when sharing these projects, that's what that is being part of the crafty community. But you know again, if I do a blog post where everybody can see what's entitled to be a creative team person, you can see and get an idea of how that works, and what everybody that is part of these design teams, what they all have to do, uh, again, to stay in tune with the crafty community. So one of these days, I'm gonna get to do that. I just, with the help of a friend, revamped my blog, and I'm super excited because it seems like it's gonna go a lot smoother and easier, and therefore I am hoping to be able to start posting there a lot more. So I'm gonna finish up my doodling, and I will get to talk about another product that I received from Arteza that I'm really excited about. That will probably be another video in itself. So we'll get to that eventually. But you can see how I cheated a little bit, and with a pencil mark where my quote was going to go, so that I made sure that it was going to fit in the area that I had left open, for the quote. So it was so much fun to see the color coming through, and also just super fun. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm going to be switching now to my live comments for the next step, and I will have close-ups at the end as well, plus links to everything that I've used here. So just take a second and take a look at that. I was also very fortunate to receive this amazing set of Twinmarkers from Arteza for me to review, and they are amazing. They are called Twinmarkers because they are dual tips. So one side, it's a brush pen, and the other side, it's a fine tip. So I wanted to use these to do a little border around the frame here, and that should complete my layout. That whole saying of do it for the process fits here perfectly, because the joy in this is obviously not just the end result, but the actual process of doing it. I personally find it very soothing and relaxing to do the doodling. I doodle as much as I can on my, my layouts, not a lot. But you can see a little bit here. I doodle around the layouts on a lot of them. So I'm gonna do the same with these, using these markers here, just so that you can see how awesome these are as well. Definitely will be a separate video to show what these guys are, what you can do with them, because they come in such a variety of colors. It makes everything, the blending part, very, very easy. So very quickly, I go around the layout and do a little doodling, kind of a mimic a stitching, like if I was using my sewing machine. You see the little squiggly lines that I do. That's kind of why I did that. Very easy, very quickly. And I am coming to the end here, you guys. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I had a blast working with these, with this type of paper. I hope you stay tuned for the close-ups as well as for links to everything else. Thank you so much for coming to craft with me. And I hope you have a chance to get your crafty wheels out. Until next time, take care.